Mike, Sean, and Howard back, and we are going through the top 100 tickets, and we are down to the top 10. All right, guys.
Good to see you.
We are. Had a few technical difficulties, but we made it. We're down to the top 10. Are you ready?
Ready
as you'll ever be. All right, well, let's get right to it. Let me pull it up, my little top tenner, and here we go. Number 10. Super Bowl numero uno. Sean, I'll let you start since I believe you had this one highest of the three.
I think I had it the highest of anybody. I had it at number 3 on my list. I thought that, if you look at tickets, if you look at a group of tickets that and you want it to be identifiable, I think this one is at or near the top. Just glancing at it and being able to know exactly what it is. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I would. I definitely would. Yep.
I think I heard the argument online, like, it was kind of not that great of a game. Didn't even sell out. But to me, I'm kind of like you. This is Super Bowl 1. And I do like first. And the Super Bowl will be played long after we die. And it's an iconic ticket. There are quite a few of them. 271 stubs, 57 fulls, a total of 328. I had it ranked as my 8th. And there are different colors. So, there's some rare versions than others, blue, white, and yellow. Are you guys owners of this one?
I do not. I do not have one.
Oh, Howard's grabbing something.
Yeah, I have one.
Uh-oh. I have one also, but it's not graded and it's not in the best of shape. It's not as nice as that one. Now, the rarest ones that are out there is the white full is 3 total and the blue full has 6. And I've seen those go in the 10, 20, 30K range, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say 2 things about this ticket. I think it's absolutely an iconic ticket. The way it looks, the identity of it to every ticket collector. Some years ago, this ticket could be had for, nothing. $50 on eBay all day long. A stub. But you also have to be careful because I think there were 2 companies that were competing for the opportunity to be able to actually produce the tickets for the NFL. And one company won and one company obviously lost. This is the Dillingham Ticket Company, which is the one that's been authenticated. That's my ticket. And those are the ones that was the company that got the license to do the tickets for the first Super Bowl. But there is another company that printed the tickets. They look similar. So just be careful if you're purchasing one to make sure that someone knows or whether or not it's the authentic version or not.
And do you know how to tell the difference?
Yeah, the if it doesn't have the I think the Dillingham Ticket Company on the back, it's not the authentic version. You can also kind of just look at the front. I don't have one of those in front of me. If I did and you looked at it next to each other, you'd see some artistic differences too. But I think if it doesn't have the Dillingham on the back, it's not the authentic ticket.
Yeah, there's
good.
There's also
all right.
Seat.
Oh, go ahead, Sean.
There's also a seat number that is I forget what the seat number is, but it's either a fake or a reproduction. Either seat number or row number, I don't remember, but there's another way to identify them that way too. But it is a ticket that there's a lot of reproductions of.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
Number 9, Wayne Gretzky NHL debut. Well, I am going to start off and just say I hate this ticket. I don't like it, and I'll give you my reasons. It wasn't his professional debut. It It just says Blackhawks. There's very faint Edmonton Oilers. I don't like the look of it. And I actually didn't even rank it in my top 100. In hindsight, I probably would have now after thinking about it a little more. But do not like this ticket. Didn't have it ranked. Where did you guys have it?
Yeah. I think out of the top 10, this is the one that I don't believe should have been in the top 10. For the same reason, it's not really his debut. His debut came with the WHA. But I had it at number 28 just because of the major sales recently that kind of put it in the mainstream of everybody's consciousness. But otherwise, I agree with you, Mike. It's not a particularly impressive ticket, in my opinion. But obviously, there are varying opinions on this.
I had it at number 28 as well. There are some GOATs in sports, and Michael Jordan's a GOAT, Jim Brown's a GOAT, Jerry Rice is a GOAT, Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, but no one's the great one. No one's the great one, and he's the great one. And the first game that he played in the NHL is a pretty spectacular moment. So I happen to love this ticket. I wish I owned one. I didn't have it in my top 10. Probably doesn't belong in the top 10, but GOATs and debuts are fine by me.
Fair enough. Moving on. Number 8. Oh, by the way, on that ticket, there are 14 stubs, 0 fulls, and 2 of those stubs are autographed. A little higher than I thought. I thought it was a sub 10 ticket, but yep, 14. Number 8. Lou Gehrig, luckiest man speech.
Let's see it, Mike. Let's see it.
There it is. You see it right there. It's on the screen.
I want
to
see
the exact one.
I want to see it in your hands, Mike.
All right, let me get a little closer. This is what I bought this one early on, I think in like 2019. I had this as number 4. It was kind of a pretty hard debate with me about where it should rank. This is kind of I don't know if I'd classify it as American history, but it's kind of a speech that at least everybody's, I think, come across. I guess if you rank the greatest speeches in American history, I mean, it has to be definitely in the top 10, right? Maybe higher. Lou Gehrig is a Yankee. I think the ticket is super cool looking. It's just, to me, it's a classic, and it is kind of definitely baseball history and American history. Thoughts?
Yeah.
I have to I had it at number 3. I can't believe it was only at 8. It is a Mount Rushmore ticket, and I just think this was way too low. This has got to be, certainly I thought top 3, if not top 3, top 5. 8 was way too low. And to think that there actually is an autographed copy of this ticket, I mean, that is amazing.
That is amazing. That went for, what did it go for, 60, 80,000 like 2 or 3 years ago? It
was 98.
90.
Yeah.
I don't know what that ticket would go for in today's market, but it would be a very big number if it was sold today.
Yeah. If you think about it, he was very ill at this time, and when you read about it, there was a lot of awards that he got, and he couldn't hold them. He had to set them down and everything. So for him to have gone over and signed somebody's ticket during all of that, that's just crazy. That it happened. It had to have happened at this event, don't you think?
I think so, and I think it's signed in pencil, and man, that's cool. But this ticket, Mike, I bow down. That's a great one. You've got a great one. What's the pop on it?
Oh, pop 6, not including the one that's autographed. So very, very rare. The funny thing is about this ticket, when I bought it, it was one of those auctions, and the auction ended, say, on a Saturday night, and I put the bid in like on a Wednesday or Thursday. And it was early on when I started collecting, and nobody bid again. And I was shocked, and I was kind of like, kind of sick to my stomach. Like, oh man, I way overpaid for this. But yeah, I'm happy I did get it for sure.
Well, I had this a little higher than you guys, and remember, I'm a baseball guy. I love this ticket. I think it's extremely valuable, extremely desirable. But I had it at number 21, and the reason is because it is so rare, and I think that outside of true baseball collectors, it's not as widely known and not as widely recognized, and so that's why it kind of got lower on my list. That's why I kind of thought of it as lower. But yeah, in terms of tickets that I would want to have, definitely top 4. But I had it at number 21 for the iconic list.
Dang, Sean, that's a shocker right there.
Yeah, there's only 6. It's not attainable.
I know, but I always felt like it was more known. Maybe that was just me because I was in the running. I bought one, so I always kind of kept an eye on it. So maybe it isn't as known in the community as I think it is, or the visual isn't as known as I would think it is.
Man, he's crazy. That's it.
All right. Underranked, number 8, but by Sean, highly overrated, very upsetting. Number 7, the Immaculate Reception. I was pretty surprised that was ranked this high. This is one of my favorite tickets. I think it's one of the first ones I started seeking out. It has the name, Immaculate Reception. Everybody knows with that. And it's such a cool ticket, cool name. It's got the Steelers logo on it. I believe it kind of did it start the Steelers dynasty run. I don't know if it either started it or was right in the middle, but super iconic. No arguments here at number 7. I had it at 12, but it could be talked into 7. So thoughts?
Go ahead, Howard.
I had it at 9, and I'm not upset at it all being at 7. I have mine. It was one that I bought a few of some months ago, and I was actually lucky enough to, before he passed away, to get Franco Harris to sign a couple of them. So I think it's a tremendous ticket to a tremendous moment in NFL history. Absolutely belonged on the list, and like I said, it's definitely a top ticket. So I'm glad that it placed this way.
Yeah, I had it at number 18, and I think that it's definitely an iconic ticket. It's definitely, all of those things, but I really think that the popularity of it has gone way up in recent years, or recent months even. And it might be with Franco Harris's passing, but a few years back it was a popular ticket, but I wouldn't have put it so high. I was surprised that it hit number 7. That was one of the surprises of the top 10 for me.
Yeah, I was surprised it was number 7 too. And you're right about it really gaining steam the last, I don't know, it seemed like the last year. I have one too. And I kind of talked about this before. I kind of like it, how I got it autoed, but it was autoed on the back. And I think I'm going to start doing that more with tickets that have kind of not really a place for it, or, if they have to cover something.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty, that's kind of how the Lou Gehrig one was too. I mean, nobody's going to complain about the Lou Gehrig location on that autograph. But yeah, overall 7, can't complain. I think it's super cool. And I think a must own if you're a football fan. And if you're a Steeler fan, I mean, you got to own something like this.
Yeah.
The other question that must be answered is, here's a real debate. Will Nielsen ratings show higher numbers for Game 3 of the NBA Finals or for talking tickets?
That's a tough one. Is that what's on right now?
I think it's starting like right now. It's Game 3. Who cares?
Yeah.
Wake me up when it's Game 7. All right. Number 6. The World Series, the catch, Willie Mays.
Iconic. So this is a play, and I've watched it over and over and over again, that I don't know if it's just growing up watching Ken Griffey Jr. play, but I don't see what is so great about this play. I understand the context and the point of the game, and the fact that it was in the 8th inning, and probably they lose the game if he doesn't make the catch. But is it really that great, Howard?
I think it's a pretty great moment in baseball history.
Yeah.
I looked at my list, and for whatever reason, I did not rank it, and it's probably just something that I
Howard.
Done in error. Yeah, because I mean, I've owned this ticket for a lot of years. I've owned multiple copies of it, and it was a very inexpensive ticket back in the day. I mean, like I said, you could pick these things up for $50-$60 very easily, and now it's become, you know, a multi-$1,000 ticket. Willie Mays is incredibly popular. You know, it was an amazing catch. So 6, maybe not, but certainly a top 10 kind of ticket for sure.
Yeah. I think it's an iconic ticket for sure. I just wonder how great the actual play was.
Well, I think it's, you know, the Polo Grounds, if you ever look at the seating dimensions, it's crazy because it was basically an old polo field. And like where that fence is, it's almost 440 feet.
Yeah.
So they say the amount of distance he covered and then catching it completely over his shoulder and then spinning around and getting it in, you know, before the runners advanced. And I think the game was tied, you know, all the situations, ended up being Willie Mays at home.
Right.
And then the ticket itself, I love this ticket. I had it ranked at 6. I think it's super cool. I think it's super iconic. I think it's something that'll always be remembered as Willie Mays' finest moment, who's arguably the greatest baseball player of all time. There are quite a few of these, 102 total stubs, 0 fulls.
0 fulls. Wow.
I've seen signed ones. The signed ones, I think, are, if you wanted to get like one that's more elite than others, either you get one in the tip top grade or you get a signed version. And I think the last signed one went for, I don't know, 12,000, 15,000. I don't remember, Sean. There was a recent one, I think, in Hunt.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah. Quite a, I can't remember how many proofs. But you know, you see those pop up, the proof tickets. All right. Number 5, almost to Mount Rushmore, right on the edge. Mickey Mantle MLB debut. Thoughts? Howard nodding his head.
Here's mine.
Uh-oh, hold on.
So this is it's got paper loss on the front. That's the only issue. Otherwise, it's in great shape. But this one, authentic. I think that it has become an iconic ticket in recent years, just because it's been selling for so much, setting records in sales. But if you rewind maybe 5 years ago, it was a $2,500 ticket, and that was a lot back then, of course. But it wasn't anything that was just eye popping, you know, like setting itself apart from everyone else. The fact that it's Bob Shepard's debut too with the Yankees, and he was such an iconic figure in Yankee history also, I think that adds a little to it. But it's primarily the giant sales that have catapulted this into the top 5 in my view.
I think if you're going to take a ticket that's on this list, or you're going to take a handful of tickets that are on this list that are going to make card collectors or memorabilia collectors that don't really collect tickets be converts and move into, this is one of them. This is one of them. Maybe it's because of the 52 Topps card. Maybe it's because of the 51 Bowman. Maybe it's because he's a Yankee. Maybe because he's an amazing, amazing Yankee. Maybe because he's just the Mick. I don't know what it is. But, yeah, this one is one where if you are someone who collects any kind of vintage sports memorabilia, if they said to you, hey, you know, you have an opportunity to get a ticket to Mickey Mantle's first game, it's tremendous. So absolutely, this is a great, great, great ticket. And, you know, I had it lower than 5. I had it 25 because I'm not really the debut guy. We've had those discussions, but it's fine with me that this is a top 10 ticket. It's great.
Yeah, I had it at number 15. I think it's a really cool looking ticket, and it is Mantle's debut. You know, the fact that it wasn't like some historic, like, oh my gosh, Mickey Mantle did this, or, you know, I'm not 100% sure how much hype there was around when he came up or if there was any at all. But I agree with Howard about the card thing. You know, I've seen a guy at a card show. He's a 100% card guy, and he bought it. You know, at one time, this is worth almost $100K. I don't know what it would go for today. This is one of those tickets that really went crazy during COVID. But haven't seen one sell for a while. But
Yeah.
It's very, very popular, especially in the card world. Total on these, 21 stubs, which is actually quite a few. And I guess that's probably the opening day Yankee aspect of it, that people probably kept their ticket from that opening day. All right, number 4. We are now on to the Mount Rushmore of tickets. And the number 4 ticket is Wilt Chamberlain, 100-point game.
Great ticket. Great ticket. And absolutely iconic. I mean, most points scored in an NBA game. Interestingly enough, I mean, he does it on a neutral site court in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Doesn't even do it in Philadelphia. We've seen a lot of sales of these. They've come out of the woodwork a little bit, but like the three of us have always said, these are eventually going to dry up. And I think we're starting to see that. And I think looking back, people who missed on these are going to really wish they hadn't, because I don't think you're going to find them too much more. But this is a great ticket. It was number 5 on my list. It didn't make the quote Mount Rushmore. I would have replaced it with the Gehrig's Luckiest Man, but it's a tremendous ticket. I would love to own one of these. I've tried and have been beaten out at the last second a few times, and I know you have too, Mike. So kind of stinks.
Well, I do have one, Howard, if you didn't know.
Excuse me.
So here's mine. I bought quite a while back. Unfortunately, I probably bought at the top of the market, but it was one that I thought, well, you know what? Even if I do buy it now at these prices, it's Wilt 100. I think even little kids know the Wilt 100 game because it sounds so cartoonish that somebody scored 100 points in a game.
Yeah.
It seemed like everybody always said, oh, if we had a ticket to that game, or, it only had the attendance of X amount, but 50,000 people said they were there. So this is like one of the first iconic, huge tickets. I was like, man, one day I have to own this. And you're right, man. Howard, they used to be selling like crazy on the auction sites, but they have pretty much dried up. There's 26 of these, which is, I guess, a fair amount of tickets for this event. It's not super low, but it's not like in the 60s or 80s or anything like that. More than I had it at number 5, definitely iconic. I had it just right outside, just because it's so small and it's so basic, and it doesn't have, the Sixers name on it or anything. And it's not, you show it to somebody and they wouldn't know what it is just by looking at it. May have any idea unless they were, truly a basketball aficionado.
Yeah, I also had this at number 5. So we all had it at number 5. And I own one too. Mine's not in as nice a shape as Mike's. I don't know if there you go. It's a low grade version, but it's nice to have it. For me, it's in the top 5. Of course, I put it at number 5, but absolutely iconic. I agree with everything that you guys said on it. Deserving of anywhere in the top 5.
All right, now we're getting down to the nitty gritty. The next one was a lot of debate. What's this going to be? What's going to be 3? What's going to be 2? And lo and behold, which was pretty surprising to me, number 3 was the called shot.
This was surprising to you?
I thought this is not by far, but this ticket to me just checks all the buttons. It's Babe Ruth. It's Superman, superhero type stuff, called shot. The ticket's incredible. Maybe the best looking optics on a ticket. And it has the number 3, his uniform number. The full, it's like a work of art. To me, I had it. It was my number 2.
Yeah. No, I agree, Mike. I'm with you on that 100%. I had it at number 2 also. I was kind of surprised also, number 3. Because to me it is absolutely, it checks all the boxes, just like everyone said.
It was number 2 on my list too. How could it not be, other than it's not number 2 on the top 100? But it does check all the boxes. It's an amazing ticket. This is mine. Actually bought this one raw, and I think PSA undershot on this one. It got a 1.5, and I see a lot of tickets right now that are not nearly as nice as that have better grades. But I got to tell you, I for the first time ever, I heard someone say, and I won't mention the person's name, that because there are so many of them, it means they're not collectible.
You can mention the person's name.
No, I'm not going to mention the person's name, but I really got to tell you, that to me is a real ridiculous comment. There are lots of these tickets out there relative to their age and the moment, but I don't know what is it, Mike? Over 100, 120?
114 stubs, 8 fulls.
Yeah. If I could own 122 of these, I would. That's how amazing I think these tickets are, and this is absolutely a crossover ticket. I just love this ticket. I just love it. I love the 3 on it. I love the artwork of it. I love the vintage nature of it. It's, other than the fact that it's not socially historical, which we'll get to, it is, in my opinion, the most significant ticket in ticket collecting.
Yeah. I can't disagree, but my response to that comment was that, the 52 Mantle, and I know we're not doing cards, but the 52 Mantle had a high population for decades, and everybody's always wanted it, and the popularity of it has only gone up, and the value of it has only gone up. But there's thousands of them.
I mean, not to beat the dead horse, but if it's too rare, it's not collectible enough and it doesn't belong on the list. But if it's got too many of them, it can't be on the list. I mean, give it up. I mean,
just got to hit that sweet spot.
Yeah. I mean, this is the great, Mike, I agree with you. It's as good as it gets. This is as good as it gets.
Well, this is the ticket that knocked it off the number 2 perch that we thought it should have been. Can't really argue with it. There are some caveats with this next one. And the number 2 is the Michael Jordan NBA debut.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised that this one was so popular. So, of all of the ballots, there were 31 out of 33 had this on their ballot. Only 2 people left it off completely, and cracked number 2. So yeah, I have one. I have the red version also. It's not graded yet. I'm hoping to get it graded at the National. It's got some paper loss on it, but it's, pretty good. The red version, I think, and this is where you kind of want to have the debate where it really matters what version it is, because to me, the red version, it would be the iconic version. I don't know, there's so many other variations of it.
So I have the variations up, and we can go through these now. And I think for this list, for being number 2, it only is the red one, because if you had to rank, I think, let's say, which I will say the second best version is this version, I think, in my opinion. I wouldn't rank this as number 2. This would maybe down in like the teens or the 20s. Right. If you're ranking different versions of tickets. Would you guys agree with that statement?
Absolutely agree.
The red's the best. I agree.
Red's best by far. So this is, I think, the next best version. It looks a lot like the red, but it's blue and white, has the stadium logo and all the teams on the back, which you can't see. Here is, I believe, the next best version is kind of the box office-y version that looks a little more generic. It still has the Chicago Stadium on the front. So that would be the 3rd best version, in my opinion. The 4th best version, let me get over to it, is the Ticketron version. Well, we'll talk about this one in a second. Keep going by it. So I don't like these. They've been popping up a lot. It makes me wonder, like, is there something going on with these? I never have any, actual information like, oh, these are being reprinted or something. But a lot of these start popping up. They're super generic, Ticketron stock. What's your guys' thoughts on the ones I just showed?
Yeah, I agree with you in that same order, and I think that there's a big gap between the red and the second one, and I also think there's a big gap between the second blue and this Ticketron version. This is just my opinion, but I wouldn't even want the Ticketron one. And I think if I remember right, there was almost 20 or right around 20 Ticketrons and 60 total in the pop report, and the Ticketron was a good portion of that. And that's
Right.
all come in the last.
So the breakdown that when PSA actually broke it down, they had 25 with no designation. They had 3 red, the 3 red season versions, 10 of the box office, which are both of the blue and white versions, and then 18 Ticketrons.
Yeah.
And then the wild card of this whole group is the Blackhawks ticket stock printed out for the Bulls game where Jordan debuted. And there's supposedly, I believe, 2 of these, at least 1.
Yeah. There's 1 in the pop report. I think there's at least 2 that are floating around, right?
But I kind of like this version if it is truly real, other than the basic box office or the Ticketron version, just because of the uniqueness of it. If it is truly real, which I think it is, in my opinion. I know other people don't. But yeah, those are all the versions.
Have you ever seen, Howard or Mike? Have you ever seen this in any other arena for any other team where they mistakenly or ran out of stock, so they had to print on the other team's stock? Has this ever happened in any other space other than one of the most valuable tickets in collecting history?
Not that I've seen.
Not that I've seen. I wouldn't want to win one of those Blackhawks ones. I would.
Yeah, it may, maybe they are out there, but as soon as I see that, then maybe I'll take this one a little bit more at face value. But otherwise, until that, I'm this. It's not even really part of the discussion for me.
So I don't want to. Here's mine. It's the box office, and it actually is designated by PSA as box office version. I don't give investment advice. I miss on stuff all the time, hit on stuff once in a while, but I'm a collector at heart. But this is definitely a ticket. I mean, there's only 60 of them. This is the greatest basketball player ever, maybe the greatest athlete ever, one of the most iconic celebrities ever, with his shoes and everything that he's done. To think that there are only 60 of these and he's so popular. I mean, Japan and China and Asia and the Middle East. I mean, all you got to do is find 60 people who have a lot of money and they want a piece of history. So I don't know. I think these are extremely depressed right now, price wise. And if you can get your hands on any copy of it, I think it's a steal right now.
And I have one also. It's that version, the blue and the white, has a little writing on the back. Somebody wrote the score, 109 to 83. But yeah, I kind of agree with Howard. I think it's, of course, the red is the one, and then you kind of trickle down. But I mean, Jordan is just, he is, like Howard said, like, be talking about him 500 years from now.
Yeah.
He's up there with Babe Ruth. I guess him, Muhammad Ali, maybe the top 3.
He's a global icon.
Yeah, global icon. I'd maybe put him ahead of Ruth. I mean, he's between the Air Jordan brand. I mean, that'll probably be around forever too. Yeah. And so back to the list. Number 1, which if you're in the collecting community, you probably know what the number 1 ticket is. So
wait, you gonna tell him, Mike? You ain't gonna tell him, are you?
We're gonna reveal it live right here.
Reveal it live.
We're gonna reveal it for everyone who didn't watch the basketball game. That's
the millions and millions of viewers tonight get to see numero uno, Jackie Robinson, MLB. Hey, that ticket looks familiar. MLB debut. That's a nice looking ticket, man. I wish I owned that one.
Do you have yours? Let's see yours.
Do you have yours?
Mine's that one.
It's right on that one. Mine is not as pretty.
Got it right here.
Hold on a sec. Sean's a little choppy, but see, we get a nice little. So you've seen it. We've seen the picture on it.
Get some up close.
Yeah. The one I have is it's got little staple holes and it has a crease, and it's actually graded by SGC. Really random. But yeah, the only thing that maybe would make me not make it number one is just because it doesn't have some really cool look like the Babe Ruth ticket. Like, somebody could talk me into Babe Ruth, the called shot being number one. But this one, has the Branch Rickey written on the bottom, opening day 47. But you want to talk about American history, you can talk about something, be talking about 500 years from now, it'll be this. And I don't think many people had many arguments about making this number one.
Yeah, I think it's number one and well above that Jordan debut or the called shot. It's just an amazing, iconic, socially historical piece of American history. It's great. Other than owning the uniform that he played in or owning the glove that he used that day, this is as close as you're going to get to really being there for history. And it deserved number one, in my opinion, unequivocally.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the things that one of the takeaways from doing this project was how definitively it is number one, and by far, not even close. It was the only ticket on the entire list that was on all 33 ballots, and it was number one on, I think, 26 of 33. So not even close to the second place, where the number two. Yeah. So this is a graphic that I sent over to Mike, and it has some stats on it, but the first column has how many ballots each one was on. And then the second column is, so each ballot has a potential of 100 points. If the ticket was number one, it would get 100 points off that. So the maximum number that you could possibly get overall would be 3,300, because there was 33 ballots, and Jackie Robinson debut got 32. What does it say? 3290.
Yeah, 3290. So yeah, basically routed.
Yeah. So 99.7% of the possible points that it could have gotten, it got. And not only that, but it was so far ahead of the number two that it was a larger margin ahead of the number two than any other two tickets on the list at any point, almost by 2 times. So not the Holy Grail. I know that term gets used way too much, but this is it with tickets. I think that's my takeaway.
Yeah, this is, I brought this to a couple shows in Dallas before, and people's reactions when they see this ticket, it's kind of funny. I've seen where people will want to take a picture of it. They want to hold it. They want me to take a picture of them holding it. It just kind of gets people acting weird, or, just things you don't see people do at card shows. But I think it just has that much hold on people. And they're just blown away. Like, are you serious? Like, that's Jackie Robinson, that ticket from his debut. Like, yeah. Oh my God. Just the whole freak out. It's pretty funny to see. And that's me, this is kind of why also it's number one. Reactions like that.
Yep.
I think the pop on it right now is 10, and then there's 4 others that I'm aware of that are not in PSA. They're either raw or, in your case, SGC. So there's total 14 that I've ever seen.
And how many of those 14 do you know that own it? Not personally, but
I think, well, there's 2. The one that's coming up for auction at Heritage, and then that same owner has 2 of them. Other than that, I'm aware of the owner of all but 2 others. So it's a small group.
Yeah, and the pricing we've seen, I guess, in the last year or two, it got as high as the owner of the Brewers bought one for $400+. Is that right?
Yeah, 480.
Correct. Yeah,
480. And then I think we saw one that Patrick Ryan bought that was the scrapbook back. He bought it for $200+. Was that right?
Yeah, I think 230.
So I guess the guesstimate for the next sale would probably be in the 2 to.
Well, the next one's a PSA 3, so it'll be the highest graded. and that might impact it, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to watch.
Beggars can't be choosers. I like those tickets that are coming up. The new ones, the highest graded one that Heritage has, and then the other one. I actually got to tell you guys, I like yours better than those just because they have seat assignments rather than the box. But that's just me.
And Sean's too, he was I don't think that's a fair grade. I think that needs to be cracked. You just send that back in.
Yeah. Just crack it out and send it in. I actually did send it in raw when I originally got it. I sent it through the mail. So post office came through on that one.
Just drop it in a basic white envelope, put a stamp on it, and send it out.
Yeah.
Well, that is the list. Strike Force, thanks for doing this, Sean, Mike, and Howard. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the people who watched it. It's been a long slog. Sean, every day, posting that on the Instagram.
Got one more tomorrow.
That's right. You're going to take a breather. You can take a week or two
vacation,
off.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get some honorable mentions maybe after Sean takes a break. Some of the ones that maybe didn't make the list. That'd be kind of
cool. I think that'll be just as there'll be a lot of debate when I start talking about some of the ones that were just off the list, 105, 110, even 130, 140, the higher ones that got a lot of attention, got high votes, but didn't get enough ballots. There were a few of those. So, it'll be fun to go over a lot of those different tickets that weren't quite there, but maybe should have been in a lot of people's view.
I think what I'm going to do before the National, I may just go back in and redo my list. Just see where I would put some of this stuff now again, a month and a half from now or 2 months from now. I guess we're getting up to the National, but I have to say this was just tremendous, and I appreciate Mike, taking the time to do the show, and there's a lot of behind the scenes work that he did too. So it's not all just Sean's good work, but yeah, Sean deserves a tremendous tip of the cap because he did a great job. The other thing too, I don't think we ever mentioned it, but the gentleman who provided us with the graphics for these posts too, it was just great. Yeah. About it was dynamite. So and the participation was phenomenal. We got people who commented who weren't ticket collectors, and of course we had the people who were commenting every day. So it's tremendous. I'm just thankful that y'all did it, and I think it was great for the hobby.
Yeah. And don't forget about the 33 participants. Absolutely. Some of those lists were so well thought out, and obviously they spent a lot of time on it and really, really dug into it and took it seriously. And most of them took it very seriously. So I really appreciate it. And thank you to anybody who did create a list and send it to us.
Yep. I think it was, I'm very happy with the outcome. I know early on people were freaking out about the rankings, but as we got closer to number one, I think things settled in more. And I think everybody got a good feel of what the overall community feels about, different tickets from the debuts to the historicals to the random. And I think people saw tickets they didn't even think of, like, oh, wow. Yeah. I kind of forgot about that one. And yeah, something to build on. I know the ticket collectors convention. We talked to Dave a couple weeks ago. The National's coming up end of July. I think we're tentatively going to do an event Friday night. We have to hash that out before we figure out the details more. And then the Saturday night's the trade night we're going to post a lot of that info. But yeah, I feel like tickets have some good momentum. Everything from, sales, you see these card prices tanking. And then I look at different tickets like, man, this thing is 2 to 3 times more than it was during COVID. And it's neat to see that, there really is a collector community and not so much a flipper community in the ticket world, which I think makes it so strong.
Yeah. Agreed. 100%.
I'm excited for the National. I'm excited for Dave's show. Mostly just excited to get there and see you all and talk to everybody. And like you said, Sean, all the time, meeting new people and talking to new people. It's a lot of fun. So I hope to see everybody there.
Agreed.
All right. Well, Howard the Godfather, we thank you. Sean, thank you for,
Of course.
Taking the reins and posting every day. I think it was great. And maybe we'll revisit this down the road and maybe do another top 100 in 5 or 10 years and see how things are updated.
Absolutely.
Or maybe we just do this like every year, Sean, then you can just do the whole.
Definitely not. Definitely not. There's no way.
Well,
but in 5 years, possibly.
Thanks for those who joined us. Enjoy the finals tonight. And, maybe we'll be back on next week getting back to the normal ticket talk. Maybe we'll see you at the National. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.